Welcome back to our channel Teaching and Learning. My name is Chetra, and as you know, in this channel we mainly talk about IELTS practice, business English, English language and business communications, and sometimes English grammar, as well as other many important things of our teaching learnings. Sometimes I also upload the videos that can give us some sort of lessons and some sort of entertainment. Also, last time I uploaded the video of how to change the blade of the woodcutter, and how we need to respect the labor, factory laborers, how they are dedicated and how they are motivated towards their work. Well, welcome back again. And today in this video I am going to talk about I am going to discuss the course of this one. This is Communicative Grammar of English, which is very important for the students, for the teachers, for the language instructors and trainers, and even the academic writers, professional writers, and so many people. Those who really want to improve their English, this video is going to support you. So you need to manage about 2 hours time. I guess I can finish the major component of this book into 2 hours. Normally, whenever you go to the university and colleges at that time, teacher may take so many classes for this lessons, because interaction goes there and the assessments also, the process of assessment also goes together. Here I'm going to hit the course and discuss the main points, some of the examples and major components, major concept from this course. Okay, in the last video of the same course, Communicative Grammar of English, I did for the part 1. Part 1 there, it was all about what grammar is, what communicative grammar is, how we differentiate traditional grammar with the communicative grammar, how communicative grammar actually helps you to promote your fluency, speaking and writing. So those things we discuss a lot in that sections, and you can search that video, Communicative English Grammar 2020 part 1 over there. It is already uploaded. And today before that, we had also well discussed about the varieties of English. What did we say over there? According to traditional grammar, there is one correct form and another incorrect form. One is well form of sentence, another is ill form of sentence. It is not the case always. There are varieties of English. There are varieties of structures and expressions. So a particular variety can be appropriate in one situation, but it may not be appropriate in another situation. So that is the benefits. That are the benefits of learning communicative grammar. So please manage your time up to 2 hours so that you can handle the basic concept of English grammars. What are they, how to use, along with their examples. It will be a very interesting time for you for upcoming 2 hours. Without any delay or background talk, let's start from the this is said section A, but it is part 2, because part 1 I have already done. So part 2 of this communicative grammar of English, mainly dedicated to the students of the first year or first semester in the university, but it is equally beneficial and appropriate for all those people who really want to improve their English and effective communication. And some people, even though their English is not that much bad, their grammar is also not bad, but what they think is they have a kind of fear inside. They are learning grammars and structures and formulas, but whenever they have to communicate, they feel a kind of agitation, shyness. So how they can remove those things and how they can be 100% confident, even though they are not 100% in their language efficiency, but at least they can be 100% in their confidence level, because language is a social behavior. It's a relative concept. Nobody can be perfect in English, or let's say in any language, even the native speakers. We use it like a relative way. It's a social behaviors. It's a social entity. Language is the property of the society. It's the property of the community. So once we start to use it, once we start to practice the language, whatever we have, then it goes upper and upper. Day by day, we'll improve. We'll improve all the aspects of language. We'll improve slowly the pronunciation, the vocabularies. Let's say the vocabulary list of the words power also will go up. Every day we will learn some new words. If we start to practice of that language, then structurally also we improve ourselves in the same way, communication, two-way communication, interpersonal relationship. We can develop all those things. So that way we can enhance. So I encourage all of you to practice your English with your friends. You can have, if you have some questions, you can write on the comment box and you can ask me so that we can also communicate. And I am also thinking about to make a platform where people really can communicate with each other. So that way also they can enhance their English speaking ability. So it has two benefits. One is academic or professional, another is personal or everyday use of English. Well, these are the things. And let's move to the section A of part 2 of this book. And in this section, what we do is we understand the concept of grammatical item. It's something like defining. For example, if somebody says noun, at that time we need to know what noun is, first thing, and how many types of nouns are there, second things, and what are the appropriate examples is the third, and what are the differences while using it in different contexts. So which nouns goes with which another words, or how nouns make their colloquialism. Those things are very important. We need to understand. I gave just the example. Okay, let's start. Concept. So whenever we talk about nouns, in the very beginning we need to learn nouns. Why? It may be because noun, it is equally applied whenever we learn, we acquire our first language. That's a very important thing. So similarly, whenever we practice second language, at that time also the first word is noun. Okay, referring to objects, substance and materials. So if somebody asks you what is noun, at that time you need to understand, noun is a word that refers to either a substance, object or material. That is noun. Okay, let me read it. So in 57 number, through nouns and noun phrases, grammar organizes the way we refer to objects. We begin with concrete nouns or nouns referring to physical objects and substance. So look at, nouns are those words which actually help us to refer to the substance, materials and object in the world. Noun is a word which helps us to refer to the substance, object and materials in the world, in our surrounding. So let's start from concrete noun, because if we start from concrete noun, it is easier for us because we can see it, we can touch it, we can hear it, whatever we can do. So that is the concrete nouns. So concrete nouns can also be categorized into count and mass. Countable noun and mass noun, uncountable noun. So we often have that category also. That category goes together with the concrete noun. Let's go to the singular and plural. So look at, whenever we start to think about noun, we need to understand that it is the word which is used to refer to the materials, substance, object. And whenever we study the noun, it is better to start from concrete noun. And under concrete also, they are count noun and mass noun. Under count noun, we have singular and plural. If we can't count, then there is no question of singular and plural. If we count, then only there is singular. Singular means one, plural means many. Let's start. Singular and plural, that means one and many. Count noun refers to the singular to one object, and in the plural to more than one object. As the name implies, count noun can be counted 1 star, 2 stars, etc. etc. Count noun means those nouns which we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These fingers are count noun. I can count them. If I say 1, then it becomes singular. If I say many, it becomes plural. That's the very interesting concept and easy concept. Okay. So example here given is 1 star. 1 star, 2 stars. 1 star is singular, 2 star is plural. So here let's see, singular 1 star. Is there only expression of singular 1 star only? Think about it. No, 1 star, or you can say the similar word a star, or you can say a single star. 1 star, a star, a single star. It all means 1 star. Okay, that is, these three expressions, these three words are used to refer to a singular noun. This is the example only, my dear. And plural, what we can say? 2 stars, 3 stars, and 7 stars. We can say, etc. 2 star also plural, 3 star also plural, 7 star also plural. It's all about, star hotel. Sometimes we often say that 1 star hotel, 2 star hotel, 3 star hotel, 4 star hotels, 5 star hotels, and in developed countries there are 7 star hotels also. You can have any kind of facilities over there. Just I get this example to make you understand about singular and plural. So we can, categorize the noun on the basis of group also, group of object. Object means the things, and on the basis of their group also we can categorize the noun. A group of star, there might be some stars. A small group of star, a large group of stars. A group of star, a small group of star, large group of star. Again there also we can categorize on the basis of group of object, not on the basis of individual objects. 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, 7 stars. This is on the basis of individual nouns. But not only this, we can categorize them a group of star, a small group of star, large group of small star. That way we can, understand. We need to understand noun can be categorized on the basis of group also. Now let's move to the group nouns, a group of stars. For example, 1 group of star, 3 group of stars. Here, group also can be singular and plural. 1 group, 3 group. 1 group of girl, 3 group of girls. A set of tools, 2 set of tools. A set of, pencil, 2 set of pencil, 3 set of pencil, 10 set of pencils. So set, group, and class. For example, a class of insect, several classes of insect. A class of animals, several class of animals. That way also group, class, set can also be singular and plural. Did you understand it? Very interesting, Okay, nice. And there are other groups also where we can categorize them. They are unique. Look at an army of soldiers, a crowd of people, a herd of cattle, a flock of sheep, a bunch of flowers, a crew of soldiers, a gang of thieves or youths, a pack of cards, a Constellation of stars, a series of games. Look at both singular and plural also. For example, two army of soldiers. Army goes with the soldiers, crowd goes with the people, herd goes with the cattle, flock goes with the sheep, bunch goes with the flowers. They are also the special category to the particular bunch of flowers, not bunch of man. It is only possible in literature, not in the real life. So these things you need to memorize. You can see over here in the in this site. So you can take a note or you can highlights, whatever you can do. These are the special group of the special nouns. You cannot mismatch always. Mismatching is not possible. For example, an army of cattle. So is there the army of ox and cows? Obviously no. Or you cannot say a horde of army. So that way, a bunch of flowers is only possible with the flowers, not with the bunch of thieves or bunch of youths. You cannot mismatch. So that these are very important to know, so that it can give you a kind of confidence. Whenever you can communicate at that time, you can easily communicate these areas. So this way also we can categorize noun. We can understand noun, the concept of noun, on the basis of part and whole. Noun can be understood or categorized on the basis of part and whole. Whole means my whole body, part means my eyes, you have not seen my eyes, okay. My eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ear, my head, my shoulders, my chest, and this way. These are the part, and whole means the total entire person. So let me put it again, okay, good. And now, that way also we can categorize. So part nouns like, contrasted with whole. Whole is the total amount, part is it's a part. For example, the whole cake. The whole cake. A slice of the cake. A slice of the cake. You can see in the picture also, half of the cake or a quarter of the cake. The whole cake is the whole. Slice, half, a part, a quarter are the what? Part. Part and whole, part and whole. That way also we need to understand the nouns. Now let's move to the mass noun. Up to now we have, talking about the, countable nouns on the basis of different criteria. Here let's move towards the, mass nouns, milk, sand, etc. Mass noun means we cannot count one milk, one sand, one rock, one glass, one, blood, one ink, one smoke. You cannot say that way. So they are mass. You cannot say one milk, two milk, three milk, four milk. One rice, two rice, three rice, four rice. One gas, two gas, three gas, four gas. One water, two water, three water, four water. One well, two well, three well, four well. Aisle, okay. So one blood, two blood, three blood, four blood. That way it is not counted. So they are called mass. But they are counted on the basis of their unit, their weightage. That way we can count them, okay. So they are the mass nouns. Mass nouns, sometimes also called non-count or uncountable nouns, are so called because they cannot be counted like count nouns. They typically refers to the substance. They don't refer to the object, they refer to the substance, but they are nouns. That's the thing. And that way we can do that one. So now let's go to the division of objects and substance. How we can make a kind of division on the basis of substance and object, okay. Unit noun. If the noun is unit, then what we do is, piece of bread, a block of ice, that way we can, part of the butter, that way we can divide them. A part of the butter is melted. A part of the bread is burnt. So that way we can communicate, okay. A piece of bread. So here are some typical, expression and examples. A piece of bread, a bit of food, a piece of paper, a bit of pan, a piece of land, a bit of air. So here look at piece, bit, piece, bit. These are referring to the division. A piece of paper. You know that piece of paper. It means the paper is divided into a small piece. That way we can talk. So this is all about what we say, division of objects and substance. That way. And here is another one. For example, a blade of grass. You need to understand these things. These are very important. So you can see in the side of this of my picture also. A block of ice, a pile of rubbish, 2 lumps of sugar, several cups of coffee, a sheet of paper, a speck of dust, a bar of chocolate, a length of new rope, a fresh load of hay. So that way we can categorize them on the basis of division, how we divide the object and substance. So this way we can talk. Well, so it can also be measured on the basis of something like a kilo of flour, a foot of water. It's for the depth. Whenever you want to measure the depth at that time, how deep the water's surface is. So a foot of water, a yard of cloth, 2 meters of rope, an ounce of low fat spread, a kilo of flour, and an acre of land, 10 acres of land, 20 acres of land, an acre of land, a hectare of rough ground, 12 square miles of woodland, a pint of beer, a liter of milk. So that way also we can measure the particular nouns on the basis of their natures. Okay, this way we can do. And here is another example also. This kind of dogs. So dog are the one animals, and if you say these kinds of dog, it means dogs, it means a different type. So that way. And here are some nouns. These are very important also. They can be both count and mass. Have you thought that way ever? Okay, there are some nouns that can be count nouns, countable, or mass, uncountable. For example, we went for a walk in the woods. It's count. In America, a lot of the houses are made of wood. It's mass. So the first woods means you can count how many wood did you walk on how many wood that did you walk on. That means 1, 2, 3. But in United States or in America, a lot of houses are made up of wood, so it is used for the mass. So same wood noun can be used for the countable and uncountable. How do you understand whether it is countable or uncountable? If you are able to make it singular and plural, then it is countable. If it is not possible to make it either singular or plural, then obviously it is mass noun or uncountable noun. Here are some other examples also. There was a huge cake in the dining room. There was a huge cake in the dining room yesterday when we were celebrating my best friend's birthday party. A huge cake is possible, so it means countable. 1, the big cake. But let them eat cake, said the queen. Said my sister. Let them eat cake. It doesn't mean that you can't make it over here countable. It is the mass. Here are other interesting examples also. I am going to read them. She began peeling potatoes. Peeling potatoes, taking out the cover of the potato. Peeling potatoes. She took a mouthful of potato. She took a mouthful of potato. So she ate the bigger amount of potato inside. First one, one potato peeling out, two potatoes peeling out the cover of the potato. But in the second sentence, whenever you are eating the vegetable mixing with the potato, at that time, if you eat the whole mouth of the potato, then you can say two potatoes with the whole mouth or one potato with the whole mouth. So that way, first one is countable, second one is mass or uncountable. Similarly, in the third one, do we have enough food for the weekend? Do we have enough food for the weekend, or we need to go for the shopping? Go for grocery. One, this is enough food is uncountable. Some of the tastiest foods are pretty indigenous. Some of the tastiest foods are pretty indigestible. So some foods countable. One foods, two foods, one food, two foods, three foods countable. But if we collectively say food, then it is mass. So here is another very interesting example. I would like a boiled egg for my breakfast. I would like a boiled or one boiled egg. It means countable. Or somebody can say two boiled eggs also, no problem. So since this is countable, uncountable or mass, I would prefer some scrambled egg on toast. Please, scrambled egg on toast. You cannot count them. So egg can be countable, uncountable. Food can be countable, uncountable. Okay, wood can be countable, uncountable. Potato can be countable, uncountable, according to the context. If you count, then it becomes countable noun. If you can't count, then it becomes either mass or uncountable, whatever you say. Okay. So here are another set of sentence phrase. Do you have a fresh loaf? Mass noun. Do you have some fresh bread? A fresh loaf, some bread. So a fresh loaf means countable. Some bread means uncountable. Would you like a meal? Countable. Would you like some more food? Uncountable. She is looking for a new job. Countable. A new job. Oh, one new job. She is looking for some interesting work. Work you cannot count. One work, two work, three work. What does it mean? There are too many vehicles on the road. There is too much traffic on the road. If you say, look at it. How interesting. Whenever we communicate or we want to have an idea, proper idea, so that we make mistake. There are many vehicles on the road. There is a big traffic on the road. Traffic you cannot count, even though you are referring to the same object. Vehicles in traffic also. There are buses, taxis, auto, whatever you say. But again, first one is countable, second one is uncountable over here in this sentence phrase. That way you can use. Now we need to understand noun that way. Concrete and abstract. So noun can be discussed on the basis of concrete and abstract. So concrete, what abstract means and what concrete means. Abstract nouns refers to qualities. Refers to the qualities. For example, difficulty. Events, for example, arrival. Feeling, for example, love. So abstract nouns are mainly used for qualities, events and feelings. Just like concrete nouns, abstract nouns combined with part nouns, unit nouns and species nouns. Abstract nouns also can be categorized on the similar way to the concrete nouns. This is very important. For example, how we can part the nouns. Part of the time. Time is abstract noun. You cannot catch, touch time, even though it is noun. So it is abstract noun. So you can divide part of time. Like unit also, piece of information. A piece of information. Bigger piece, smaller piece of information. Specific nouns and species nouns. For example, a new kind of music. Please highlight these things. Okay, part of the time. Time is abstract noun, but we can divide it like the concrete noun, like part of the bread, piece of paper, that is for concrete. Over here for the abstract, time also part of the time. Piece of information. Information is also mass noun, but we can say piece of information. And another is on the basis of species noun or category, group noun, like that. So a new kind of music. New kind of music means this is a group, different kind of music. So that way we can divide it. So here are some words like I had a long talk with her. Countable. I had a long talk with her. In the country we now hear talk of famine. It's a mass. Talk can be count and mass. It means abstract noun can be count and mass on count. So look at, I couldn't hear a sound, countable. These modern planes can fly faster than sound. Here the sound is mass noun. Modern planes, aeroplanes, jet, they can fly faster than the sound. And what are your thoughts on this problem? What are your thoughts on this problem? It's the count. How was deep in tonight? How was deep in thought? It's a mass noun. So this way we can divide the abstract noun also. So now let's move to the another features, another way of learning or understanding noun. This is on the basis of amount or quantity. Amount words, or we can say quantifier also to them. For example, all, some, etc. Some, they refer to the particular amount. All means they refer to the also particular amount. Particular means whole. All means whole. Some means the part. Used with singular count nouns like cake, house, they are equivalent to the part noun. For example, all of the cake or the whole of the cake. Some of the cake or part of the cake. We can say all or whole, some or part, none of the cake. Okay, especially for the singular count nouns. Used with plural nouns. That was for the singular noun. For example, there is only one cake. So what we say, all of the cake, or the whole of the cake, or some of the cake, or part of the cake, or we can say none of the cake. Okay, that is for the one singular. For the plural also we can use that way, the amount or quantity. All of the stars. There are many stars, so out of them all of the stars, and we can equally say some of the stars. All of the stars, some of the stars, and we can say none of the stars. That way we do the things. And let's move to the used with mass nouns like land. So it is used for the singular noun in case of cake, amount and quantity. Okay, it is also used for plural noun in countable, singular, cake, plural, stars, and third is mass noun or uncountable also. For example, land. You cannot count land, 1 land, 2 land, 3 land. No. Land is the mass noun, so you can see, you can show the amount or quantity on the basis of its all of the land, some of the land, or none of the land. This is a beautiful group. All of the cake, some of the cake, none of the cake. All of the stars, some of the stars, and none of the stars. All of the land, some of the land, and none of the land. First one is countable. That is singular. Second one is also countable, but that is plural. Third one is mass, not countable. We can divide in the singular pattern. That's the way. Otherwise, why we are learning these things is sometimes you need to say some of the land. If you don't know which word is used, for example, some, all, non, which is used to indicate the amount or quantity, it becomes very difficult to communicate. To communicate the idea or information. So that way you need to understand. And now let's move to the, here are some examples in the sentences. Some of the stars were invisible. Yesterday, because of the light cloud in the sky, some of the stars were invisible. None of the stars was visible. Or you can say not all of the stars visible, or you can say all of the stars were invisible. So that is the use of some and none. And there is also another word to show a large quantity. If you want to say the large quantity of the noun, then you can say the example like this. They have lost many of their friends. They have lost many of their friends in the war, or somewhere in the pilgrimage, or in the tour, in the beach, wherever you say, They have lost much of their support. So first one is countable noun. Many of their friends, countable. Second one is much of their support is mass or uncountable. Similarly, let's see, a lot of our friends live in San Francisco. A lot of our friends, countable. A lot of our support comes from city dwellers, mass. And they have making a great deal of noise recently. That is also mass noun. This is for whenever you have to express the large quantity. So when you have to express the small quantity, let's see some of the examples, okay? We managed to speak to a few of the guests. We managed to speak to a few of the guests. Few of the guests. Countable. Could you possibly spare a little of your time? Could you possibly spare a little of your time? It's a mass or uncountable. But both of them, first one is for countable, second for uncountable or mass. But both of them are used to indicate the small quantity. Another example, let's see the pair of examples. She invited just a small number of her friends. A small number of her friends. Countable. I am afraid we have run into a bit of trouble. It's a mass now. Uncountable. So that way we actually use for the small quantity. Now let's see something about many and much. So what we do, many and much, it's something like a lot of. If you say a lot of, then it has the connotation with many. If you say lots of, then much. Let's see some examples over here, okay? Many and much are often used in combination with as, to, so. For example, as many, much as, too many, too much, so many, so much, and in question how many, how much, that way we use. Much and many. Many for countable, much means uncountable. Many means a lot of, much means lots of. So that way we can use. For example, let's see some examples. Okay, how many of the rolls have you eaten? How many of the rolls, cream rolls, or it's a type of the bread, rolls have you eaten? So here the answer may be all of them, I ate all of them, most of them, a lot, all of them, most of them, a lot of them. All are possible. Or you can say half of them, several of them, a few of them, none of them. These all are used for the countable. And here for the mass nouns, the question is how much of the bread have you eaten? The same question. Bread. There was rolls, here is bread. All of it, most of it, a lot of it, half of it, a little of it, none of it. This side countable, this side mass or uncountable. So in the similar way, what we need to do is, this is indefinite use of amount word. Definite means specified. Indefinite means unspecified. For example, countable. All crimes are avoidable. All crimes are avoidable. All of the crimes in the world, it means. We did not buy many things. These are for countable. For the mass, all violence is avoidable. We didn't buy much food. Again, please look at. All crimes are avoidable. Here, all, then crimes. This is countable. We didn't buy many, then things. Countable. For mass, uncountable noun, all violence. Not are, okay? All violence is avoidable. We did not buy much food. Not much foods. If there is many, then it is countable. Much means uncountable or mass noun. I have already mentioned those things. And that way we do. So here are some other examples also. Countable. All pupils should learn to ski. We saw several snakes down by the river. Most men don't know how to dance. Few new writers have their first story accepted. I want to ask Mr. Danby a few questions. I think people catch fewer calls these days. These are the examples of count noun. Let's see the mass nouns. The example of mass. You will do a lot better with less food in your stomach. Plants in plastic pots usually need less water than those in clay pots. And the village can provide no food for the refugees. It will take a little time to clear up the mess. Put a few pieces of butter on top of the vegetables. So that way we can distinguish the mass nouns will be countable nouns, count nouns. So here are other words also. For example, words of general or inclusive meaning. General, either they are used for the general or inclusive meaning. For example, all, both, they include. All means inclusive. Both, every means general word. Every, each. All, both, inclusive. Every, each is general. Do you understand? All means including all of them. Both means including two. Every means it's not inclusive, it's general. General means every man has to be every man has to fulfill his responsibilities. Here man, it's not indicating or it's not inclusive. Every means it's a general, it's a generic use of nouns. Okay. All, both, every, each, and sometimes any are amount words of general or inclusive meaning. With count nouns, all is used for quantities of more than two and both for quantities of two only. So all means it refers to the quantity, but to all. Both means it also refers to the quantity, but it means only for two. So each and every, words like each and every and each can be called distributive because they pick out the members of a set or group singly rather than look at them all together. Each and every means indicating every individuals over there. Apart from this difference, every has the same meaning as all. Every and all are to some extent similar. For example, all good teachers study their subject carefully. All good teachers study their subject carefully. Every good teacher studies his or her subject carefully. So the distributive meaning of every shows in the use of singular forms. Teacher studies his or her. In second sentence, however, he or she, his or her, they or their, etc. We can use that way. But meaning is to some extent similar. And And sometimes each and both also can have the similar meaning. Look at the sentence, she kissed her mother tenderly on each cheek. This one and this one. Or you can say both cheeks also. Any and either. The most familiar use of the determiners any and either is in negative sentence and questions, but here we consider them in inclusive words. Any can sometimes replace all and every in positive sentence. Mainly, whenever we talk, any and either, it gives a kind of negative sense, and we can use them in question sentence most of the time. But here, sometimes, we can use any to refer to, all. For example, these days, any young man with brains can do very well. Any students can receive this prize. Any means, it is applicable to everybody. It's not limited, or it doesn't have negative connotation. A new vehicle has to, any new vehicle has to be registered immediately. Any new vehicles has to be registered immediately. That is also important. And now let's move to the scale of amount. We can order the most common amount words roughly on a scale, moving from the inclusive words at the top to the negative words at the bottom. So we look at, it's a table. So from bottom to top, okay. In the bottom, no, few, a few, several, some, many, most, all, every. Mainly for count noun. What you can do. For uncount noun, no, then little, a little, some, much, most, all for the mass nouns. This is a very interesting and very clear, very clear-cut presentation of how these words are used for the scale of amount. If you want to show the very zero amount, little bit, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, that way, it increases. Then 100. In case of count, all or every, if you say all or every, it is indicating to the 100%. Or you can say all or must in, mass nouns also. That way. So let's see some examples over here. All stress increases the body's need for nutrients. All faculty members were given bonus. Are there many other names which come to mind? Some of these patients will be nursed in a surgical ward. Nobody was reported injured, or no one was hurt. Anyone who would astonished to see the amount of public money wasted. Nothing has yet been decided. He would do anything to please her. You ought to come over to Cambridge sometimes. Cook the vegetables slowly, stirring occasionally. Margaret rarely turned on the television set. He sounded terrified and could hardly blame him. So that way you can check these words, how they show the scales, okay, over there. And this way we go. Well, so whenever we study noun, there is another important things we need to study along with noun. That is the meaning of nouns. That we often say that definite and indefinite meaning of noun. Did you understand something what I am trying to say over here? Obviously, we have the another topic in English grammar, that is article. We often say articles, definite articles and indefinite articles. So what they do is they show the meaning, either it is definite meaning or indefinite meaning of the noun. So they are the property of the noun also. Let me read out one generic paragraph over here. When we use the definite articles, the, definite means the, we presume that both we and the hearer or reader know what is being talked about: the dog, the race. Most of the words we have considered are, sometimes in that indefinite. But if we want to express indefinite meaning without any added meaning of amount, etc., we use the indefinite articles an. That is mainly with the singular count noun, or the zero indefinite articles, which means nouns or plural count nouns. So this way, look at definite articles and indefinite articles, mainly to refer to the meaning of the noun. Either the meaning is definite or indefinite. What does definite mean then? Whenever we communicate about, whenever we talked about any subject matter, at that time, if this is none or specific to both the speaker and listener, then this is obviously the definite articles. For example, the dog was stolen. Here I said the dog means whoever with whom I am talking or whoever is listening to me also knows the dog. Look at another interesting examples. The tiger killed a goat. Here, with tiger there is definite article the, and with goat there is indefinite article a. The tiger killed a goat. It means, whenever I say this sentence, I know that my listener obviously know about the tiger. The tiger which I am talking over here. Now I am saying, okay, the tiger killed a goat. It means whoever watching me right now you know about that tiger. Let me tell it another way. The tiger killed a goat means the same tiger that came last week again came yesterday and killed a goat. We can say that, last Friday you and me were together when I was buying this, highlighter. This highlighter? Look at. So it cost 70 rupees. Then today if I say I lost the highlighter, can I use your highlighter for a while? It means I lost the highlighter. Highlighter means the same highlighter that I bought last week. At that time you also were there. It is not necessary to be there whenever the events occurs, but at least you need to know which object, which substance and which materials that I am talking about. I bought the oil. Oil means you know which oil I am talking about. Cooking oils, it's another oil or whatever. So that way definite and indefinite. Definite means specific, that you and me, we know about that object, that substance, that materials. Indefinite means anyone. A tiger killed a goat. It may be any tiger in the world, but a tiger, any tiger, okay? The tiger means a specific tiger. I go to the river for swimming. It means the river, or I go to a river in the swimming every week. It may be any river wherever I feel comfortable, or which river it becomes convenient for me. A river, the river. A bottle, the bottle. A bottle means we don't know any bottle. It's not specific. The bottle means specific bottles. This is, I have a laptop. I have the laptop. A laptop means any laptop I found over here in the office. I use a laptop, or I use the laptop. Whenever I type, any letters or any assignments. Some people may ask me that. Everybody type. No, not only in laptop, Sometimes some people work on the tab, some people work on the desktop computer or whatever. A and the, okay? That is the use. Main use is whether this is definite or indefinite. So uses of definite articles then. So whenever or when do we use the definite article? Definite means the article, okay? So to express the definite articles, we use the definite article. To express the definite meaning, we use the definite article the. There are 4 main cases. There are 4 main cases where we use the definite article. It means the article. So first one is unique use of the. There are something in this world, in this universe, or in this, wherever, in the earth. They are unique. There is no another, existence of the things, of the objects, or of the substance. At that time we use the. For example, guess what are the examples of unique use of the? What are the only one thing, unique thing in this world? Earth, one earth, unique, the earth. Moon, the sun. Then the North Pole, the South Pole, the equator, the Renaissance, the human race. They are the middle age, the old age of English literature. At that time also, they are unique in their existence. There is nothing that can replace it. At that time, they were one in all. The earth, the sun, the moon, the northern pole, the Renaissance, the human race, the middle age. That way we can, talk. This is called the unique use of the. Never forget, okay? If there are things which are very unique in this world, it may be, it is not only the things, it may be substance, it may be the, abstract noun, concrete noun, whatever, you can use the. For example, here is one beautiful examples. Let's see the same examples from the book. The North Pole and the South Pole are equally distant from the equator. So equator is in the middle, Obviously, this is very general knowledge, in geography. Equator means, in the middle of the earth. And North Pole and South Pole, both of them are in equal distance. The North Pole, the South Pole, the. Okay? So that way, whenever you make sentences, you speak something about sun, moon, earth, equator, human race, history, war, the First World War, the Second World War, they are unique. Obviously, there are fight or simple war in the world, but there are 2 unique wars. So that's the thing. And you may say that, sir, just you said that there should be only one thing or existence, but here we have 2 wars. No, they are different. They have the single existence. First World War is one, Second World War is another. Okay, that way we can use them for the unique definite articles. Now let's move to the back pointing use of the. Back pointing, what does it mean, back pointing? Pointing means to point, to show, to indicate. So the indicate or point to the backward. Let's see one example, then we will understand. Okay, they have a son and 2 daughters, but the son is already grown up and has a family of his own. So here, this is called the back pointing use of the. First, whenever you say a son, at that time a son, they have a son and a daughter in the family, but the son, here the word the is referring to the back of the son, not to the front but to the back. There are 2 sons, front position and back position. So back pointing the is called that one. Okay, it means whenever we use the same nouns 2 times, so it is the is used to show to the back pointing. Look at it. They have a son and a daughter. It means they have a son and a daughter, but the son has already grown up and has settled the family. the sun is also referring to the same sun which is used in the beginning. So this is used for the back, second position of the noun, second occurrence of the noun, so that it is called back pointing. Another next use of the is forward pointing. This is very interesting, back pointing and forward pointing. Let's see the example. Okay, the woman who answered the door helped Jack into the room. The woman who answered the door, here the person who answered in the door was woman. So to refer to the that woman or that person, we use the. It is used for the forward pointing, not back pointing but forward pointing. The wine of France is the best in the world. So here the wine of the France. So the wine of France, it means it is also pointing to the front position. The discovery of radium marked the beginning of a new era of medicine. Of a new era of medicine. That the beginning and the discovery, they are pointing to the forward position. This is simple, don't get confused. Okay, the unique use of the definite article, back pointing use of the, and forward pointing use of the. It is on the basis of position. And sometimes we discuss about a person, substance or object, whatever we do, but if that the is used in the forward position, then forward pointing. If it is used for the backward position, then backward pointing. And next one is conventional use of the. Conventional, that people are using it. For example, the radio, the paper. When reference is made to an institution shared by the community, the radio, the television, the telephone, the newspaper, the paper, the train, that way also. This is called the conventional use of the. I read in the newspaper the next day and they had been killed by burglars. Burglars will maybe go to Glasgow this week on the train. So some specific things that are used with the the, for example, train, group of the train, and paper, let's say radio, television, river, and those way we can use the use of the after the preposition. After preposition, the is used before parts of the body in construction, like she looked him in the eye and said no. In the eye. After the preposition and before the noun, we often use the. For example, by the hand, that way also we can use. Now generic use of articles also. Okay, now let's go to the generic use of articles, not specific but generic. The also has generic use referring to what is general or typical for a whole class or object. This is found with count nouns. If you are using the noun for the general use, generic use, not to a particular object, particular person, particular particular substance or materials, but in general. If you are talking in general, at that time you use the definite articles, but it is said that it is not definite, it is generic use. Here are some examples. Okay, the tiger is one of the big cats. It is rivaled only by the lion in strength and ferocity. The tiger has no mane, but in old males the hair on the cheeks is rather long or spreading. So it is talking about the tiger. Tiger means the total class of tiger. The tiger, the human, the teachers, the strengths. It means referring to the general group, not to a particular one. So that is not for the specific but for the generic. Also at that time also we use the definite articles. Tigers have no mane, a tiger has no mane. So they can use for the generic or specific also. So that way also we can use the and specific versus generic. Okay, so you can say that specific versus generic. At that time you can make comparison between independent articles and dependent articles also. Count noun, in case of count noun, the tiger or tigers we can use to refer to the meaning. The tiger means specific tiger, or tiger means any tiger but only one tiger. If you say tigers, all you are talking in common about the tiger. Okay, that way you can use. So let's see some more examples about specific use and generic use of the nouns or meaning. Pass the butter please. Pass the butter please. So here the butter. Okay, pass the butter please. This is specific use because we are pointing or specifying the butter. It means that butter, which butter you are going to pass, that okay. You cannot pass any butter which is on the corner of the table, so that I am not reaching over there to take the butter so that you can pass to support me, to help me. So generic use of the butter is expensive nowadays. Very important. Pass the butter please. The butter in first sentence. In the second sentence, butter is expensive nowadays. So what kind of butter? Do you know which butter is expensive nowadays? Any butter. You cannot figure it out, a particular type of butter now. In common. So in common you are not going to use the articles, but in specific you are going to use the articles. The acting was poor, but we enjoyed the music. The acting was poor. It may be talking about the movie or any documentaries. Acting was poor. The acting was poor, but we enjoyed the music. That is specific use of the acting, the music. We know that. Here, dancing and music were her hobbies. So here also we are talking about dancing and music, but we are not using the acting was poor, but the music was good. But we enjoyed the music. We can use the article over there. But here in the similar expression, dancing and music were her hobbies. Here we don't use the. Okay. Before you visit Spain, you ought to Before you visit Spain, you ought to learn the Spanish. You ought to learn the language. Before you visit Spain, you ought to learn the language. Learn the language. The language. Do you know which language we are talking over here? Obviously, Spanish. Mistakenly, I pronounced the word Spanish language. No, Spanish. Okay. So the speaker says, before you visit Spain, you ought to, you have to, you must. It is better to learn the language. The language means Spanish language. We know that. The specific use of verb. The scientific study of language is called linguistic. Here, look at the scientific study of language. Which language? Do you know? Any language. It can be any language. You can study Russian, French, Japanese, Chinese, Hindi, whatever language you use. At that time, we don't know which language, so it is not specific. And the next one is, come and look at the horses. Come and look at the horses. I just love horses, said Murphy. I love just horses. Here we are not using I love just the horses. No. Only horses there. Come and look out the horses. So it means, whenever we use the objects or things or substance, if it is specific, if we know definite, then we use the, otherwise we don't use the. That is, you need to understand. And sometimes, we have the comparison like this. Chinese history. Know the Chinese history, okay? But look at the history of China. Chinese history, when you say Chinese history, no use of the, but the history of China. American social life, the social life of America. early medieval architecture, the architecture of the early Middle Ages. Animal behavior, the behavior of animals. So you need to understand where to use the. Okay, here also you learn those things over here. And generic with the adjectives, nationality, nouns, and group of nouns. So at that time also we can use the. For example, they should see to it that there is work for the unemployed, food for the hungry, and hospital for the sick. Note the sentence. Okay, sometimes you need to explain. They should see to it that there is work for the unemployed, food for the hungry, and hospital for the sick. So sick, group nouns, nationalities, and adjective. At that time also we can use the. And in case of pronouns, proper nouns, we don't use the articles, but there are some cases we can use articles also if they are not used for the proper nouns. Third person pronouns, so they are referring to male and females. First and second person pronouns. So these pronouns kind of things we will study in the another relations. We'll check that one. And usage of generic. Okay. So this is also another thing, so we'll check that one. Now let's move to the restrictive and non-restrictive meaning. Okay. Yes, restrictive and non-restrictive meaning. Whenever we talk noun, obviously we have just finished the generic meaning and specific meaning of noun on the basis of related to articles. On the basis of the specific articles and generic articles, we have that meanings. And here we check the restrictive and non-restrictive meanings of the noun. So what are the ways? How do we make restrictive and non-restrictive? And before that, we need to understand what restrictive means and what non-restrictive means. Okay. So for that one, so let me go through the examples first. Don't worry, see the examples, then you will yourself investigate what is restrictive. Restrictive means to make it more confined, limited, or accessible. You can put the limit, a restriction, and non-restriction means they are open enough, and it can refer to any objects, things, or person, or whatever. So modifiers before or after a noun usually help to specify its meaning exactly. Restrictive means to specify. Non-restrictive means not to specify. There are some adjectives which can be used before the nouns or after the nouns, and that they help us to make the meaning either restrictive or non-restrictive. Let's see the examples over here. The children. And the children who live next door. The children who live next door. So think about it. Which is restrictive and which is non-restrictive. Okay. Another example is a king of Denmark. Butter toast. Hot butter toast. These latest history books. So here are some examples we check. The first one is the children. Compare with the children who live in the next door. A king, and you can say a king of Denmark. Butter toast, hot butter toast, and these latest history books. So these are the group of the words, and obviously there is a significant difference between a king and a king of Denmark. The children and the children who live in the next door. The butter and the hot butter. Okay, and another is these books and these history books. These science book, these engineering books, these education books. So whatever you say, if you use some words, the modifier, then they can help us to, whether to restrict the meaning of the words, obviously. So in each case, phrase be tells, be means with words with some modifiers, It's not like the children, but the children who lived in the next door. Who live in the next door obviously specify the meaning of children. So tells us more precisely than phrase A about what the noun refers to. It narrows down or restricts the meaning of the noun by saying what kind of children, king, etc. the speaker is talking of. This type of modifier is called restrictive. The modifier which helps you to restrict the meaning of noun, to give you more specified meaning, then they are called restrictive. So if we use them, it becomes the restrictive meaning, and if we don't use them, then it becomes non-restrictive. Non-restrictive. Restriction, there is no restriction in non-restrictive. A king, no restriction, okay? It is non-restrictive. A king of Denmark, more specified, more restricted, in a limited form, okay? So you know about the king over there. That's the things. So, restrictive and non-restrictive also can be found in the, whenever we use the clause, also relative clause. She loved to talk about her sister who lived in Paris. She loved to talk about her sister who lived in Paris. If you put comma, then it becomes non-restrictive. Look at, she loved to talk about her sister who lived in Paris. Here, this is restrictive. She loves to talk about the sister who is living in Paris. The same sister who is living in Paris or living in France, that about her she wants to talk. She loves to talk. But if you say she loves to talk about her sister who lived in Paris, maybe the sister who lived in Paris and the sister who she loves to talk about may be different one. If they are different one, there is no restriction. So that is non-restrictive. First one is restrictive, second one is non-restrictive. Well, non-restrictive adjectives. Let's read it, okay? This is interesting. Mainly the adjectives specify the meaning of restriction. Adjectives as well as relative clauses can be non-restrictive. The clearest cases are adjective before proper nouns. Since a proper noun already has unique reference, it cannot be limited any further by the adjectives. Poor James, 73 years old Mr. Cass, the beautiful highlands of Scotland, etc. are the use of restrictive adjective to the proper noun. This is interesting. Proper noun is in itself in a restriction because my name is Chetra. So the poor Chetra, the unhappy Chetra, the rich Chetra. It is not necessary to tell that one, the rich Chetra. What does it mean? Is there another poor Chetra? So even to the proper noun also, those restrictive adjectives, they restrict the meaning of the noun. That is also possible. So non-restrictive adjectives are not to so clearly marked by punctuation or intonation, and some ambiguous can occur. The patriotic Americans have great respect for their country's constitution. So Americans, if you say American, no need to say patriotic Americans. If you say patriotic American, again you are restricting to the specific group of Americans over there. So that is, the hungry workers ask the houses of their rich employees. Hungry workers ask the houses of their rich employees. It means you are more restricting the meanings. Workers, and in workers also hungry workers. Employers, in employers also rich employers. It is the bargaining in between hungry workers and rich employers. It is the talk of patriotic Americans and liberal Americans. These are the things. And sometimes the order of the words also modifies the meaning. in case of restriction. Look at the examples over here. Her last great novel and her great last novel. What do you understand? Her last great novel, her great last novel. Obviously, restriction in the meaning. So what type of restriction is here? Look at. In the first sentence, great is restrictive. So when you say her last great novel means great is restrictive, while in 6 great is non-restrictive. The meaning of first is therefore the last of her great novels, and the meaning of second is her last novel which was great. Again check it, okay? Her last great novel, it means the last novel was great. We can say the last of her great novels. That is the meaning. And when we say her great last novel means her last novel which was great. So meaning, in the order of the words, even the words are same, but when we order them first and second position, third and fourth position, then it may be sometimes the particular concept may be restrictive. So it is not the novel that is restrictive. It is either the great or last is restrictive. So in the first sentence, great is restrictive, and in the second sentence, last is restrictive. That's the. And let's move to the time, tense, and aspects. So this is very important concept, and whenever we study tense at that time also we learn these time, tense, and aspects. Please go to my another video that is I have already uploaded in the same channels, teaching and learning, tense in 2 hours, I think, and over there I have clearly mentioned the relationship between tense, time, and aspects. In the beginning I discussed a lot the relationship between tense and time, and after that I equally talked about the tense and aspects. There are how many aspects there? People often say 12 aspects. No, there are 3 tenses: past, present, and future. There are 4 aspects: simple, continuous, perfect, perfect continuous. So we need to understand where to use them, what is the structure, what is the formula. So all those things are available in that video. That is also the video of 2 hours. Once, please watch that video and correlate those things over here. If you have any problems, you can ask me. You can share your opinions. Why don't you make this channel more interactive so that we, I will be more encouraged to put many videos and you will be benefited from that one. So that's the way, okay? So time, tense, and aspects, please understand from that. And then what we are trying to do over here is, so time when is also there, and we'll talk about that. And for the preposition also we'll take another class. Let's say another presentation. I'll upload another video about the preposition, where to use and what type of preposition is very useful and other important things. So that way we'll do over there. Preposition of place, preposition of time, preposition of motions, and those things we'll do those over there. And if so, then what is the next? Okay, so let's see, manner, means, and instruments. They are also come under the what to say. We often do it by the preposition also. So, but let's have this one. Okay, if you want to specify how an action is performed or how an event takes place, you can use the adverbial of manner, means, and instruments. Manner, means, and instruments, adverbials. So if you want to know how the action takes place, for example, how did you write the letter? In conversation. So the possible answer is I wrote it very slowly, very hurriedly, in a rush, in a short time. I wrote it very slowly. It means what? Slowly. This adverbial shows how you wrote the letter, how the event happened. And I wrote it by hand. So it means the means. What is the means to write the letter? By hand, I wrote by hand, not by computer or something else. Handwritten. And another option is I wrote it with a red ball pen, ballpoint pen, red pen. How did you write the letter? If somebody asks you, there are three possible answers to show it: the manner, means, and instruments. I wrote the letter very slowly, very hurriedly, very fast. It shows the manner. How did you do that one? And the second one is I wrote it by hand. I did not type, okay? I did not type, or I did not ask somebody to write it. I wrote it by hand. And the third one is, I wrote it by red pen. I use red pen. So first one is manner, second one is means, and third one is instruments. So these are important adverbials. Okay, how do we show the manners and means and instruments? So let's see some more examples. Okay, in case of manner, the three chief ways of expressing manner, three main ways of expressing manner is by an adverb. You can use adverb. For example, by usually ending in ly or adverb phrase. Ly, slowly, hurriedly. That way you can talk about that. And in a manner or a way, by showing or a way, or with abstract noun phrase. So most adjectives have matching ly adverbs, and many adjectives have matching abstract nouns. Thus, there may be three ways of expressing the same idea. For example, here look at, he spoke confidently. He spoke confidently. He spoke in a confident manner. He spoke with confidence. You can use whatever. First one is most common, second one is more formal, third one is formal. So that way also we can show the manner, whether we are talking formally or informally. He spoke confidently. He spoke in a confident manner. He spoke with confident. Okay, combining manner with comparison. Sometimes manner with comparison. For example, Pat cooks turkey as my mother did. It shows the manner, obviously. In the way that my mother did, formal. In the way my mother did, informal. Pat cooks turkey as my mother did. In the way my mother did, the way my mother did. This is also formal, informal, and formal way of expressing manner. Okay, and sometimes we can use as if or as though also. She treats me as if I were one of the family. She treats me as if I were one of the family. It is also showing the manner how she treats me. She treats me as if I am her family members. Okay, that way. And here is another one also, means and instruments, by and with. If you are talking about means, at that time you use by, or if you are talking about instruments, at that time you use with. For example, you are going to France by car, are you? You are going to France by car, are you? She slipped into the house by the black gate. She slipped into the house. Slipped means, slipped. Whenever we walk, we slip, We slip from one to one place to another place. We managed to sell the house by advertising it in the paper. So buy car, buy the blanket, by advertising in the paper. That is the means. All these three by are used to refer to the means. And instruments, for instruments we use with. For example, let me read the sentence. She reached down and touched the lace with her finger. The young man has been attracted with an iron bar. She always opens her letters with a knife. She always uses a knife to open the letters. So that way we can talk about the means and instruments. And here are some cause, reason, and purpose also. You can go through these things, and sometimes reason and consequences. For example, because of, age, since. These are to show the reason and consequences. Condition and contrast is also there. And you can talk about negative condition, unless, okay, and unless. So this is very more interesting. So let me see this one. Unless express a negative condition. Thus we could change the emphasis of, for example, I will lend Peter the money if he needs it, by saying I won't lend Peter the money unless he needs it. Very interesting sentences. First sentence is I will lend Peter the money if he needs it. I'll give him if he needs. And if you want to make the same sentence negative, at that time you can say I won't lend Peter the money unless he needs it. If he doesn't need it, then why should I do that one? Okay, that's important. And similarly, unless Paul improves his work, he will fail the exam. Unless Paul, unless John, unless Rose, unless Tina improves her work, she will fail in the exam. So, equivalent. And if you can take a book out of the library and keep it for a whole year, unless it is recalled. If it is not recalled, then you can use the library book for the whole year. So that way we can use unless. And similar way, any and ever we can use phrase, and that way. And here is another important thing is degree. In whenever we study the concept of grammar, basic concept of grammar, degree means comparative degree is there, and positive degree, comparative degree, and superlative degree. Let me read some sentences. Okay, modifying degree words. How hungry are you? I am very hungry. Or how soon they are leaving? Quite soon. Quite and very. Completely, absolutely, they are intensifying or modifying degree whenever we communicate. And similarly, there are gradable words and degree also, large and small, black, dark, light, white, that way. So there is there is white, there is black, and nearby white there is light, nearby dark there is nearby black there is dark. So they are the gradable words. There is in the degree. For example, look at this one, black, and this one dark. If you go this way, this one, and if you go this way, this one is light, this one is white. That way, this is the degree, grade. On the basis of that also we specify the basic concept of grammar. So these are the things. And what we do next is role, standard, and point of view. So role, standard, and point of view, what we do is let me read it. A gradable word can also have its meaning qualified in terms of role or standard. Using it or age, you can specify the role which the gradable word implies. Using for you can specify the standard by which the speaker is judging its use. Gradable use in bold type. Anna is clever. Anna is very clever. So gradable, role. Anna is clever, Anna is very clever. So you can have your judgment. Clever and very clever. So Anna is clever at swimming. Anna is a swimmer. She is outstanding. So that is role. So look at, this is, degree. Whenever we talk about the degree, Anna is clever, Anna is very clever. It is in degree. And whenever we talk the role, Anna is clever at swimming. As a swimming, she is outstanding. This is about role. Anna is a good swimmer for a youngster. For a learner, she swims well. The standard, okay? That way we can talk. Further, you can specify the point of view from which a word or phrase is understood. That way also. And comparison, we can make comparison. For example, Jack is taller than Jill. Jill is shorter than Jack. Jill is less tall than Jack. Jack is less short than Jill. So in opposite way, we can make the comparison. That way. And equal comparison by using age. For example, Jack is as tall as Jill. Jill is as tall as Jack. That way. And comparative and superlative. Comparative means with the two objects, two things, two person. Superlative means among the things. We compare that way. Thank you very much. In this way, we have completed the basic concept of English grammar. Well, so, let's summarize it. Let's glance, not summarize exactly. Let's glance it, in the part 3 it said here. So grammar in use, whatever we did with the section 1 concept, referring to objects, substance, and materials. Look at, it is through nouns and noun phrases that grammar organizes the way we refer to objects. We begin with concrete nouns, and nouns refers to objects and substances with physical existence. So that way we understand. If you see the sub topics referring to object, substance, and materials, look at singular and plural, one and many that we discuss. Singular 1, plural 2, 3, 7 stars, group of objects, group of stars, small group of stars, large group of stars, group nouns. Look at the examples of group nouns: crowd, a herd of cattle, a
flock of sheep, crew of sailors, gang of thieves, and then they pack up cars that way. Look at the government never makes up its mind and make up their minds. Position on the basis of in the basis of partition, part and wall, the whole cake, slice of the cake, half of the cake you can see in the picture, quarter of the cake. One is whole, another is part. All three are parts, and the whole cake is mass noun. Mass noun means we cannot count it. You can read the definition. There is some milk in the refrigerator. Okay, look at. But now there are some milks. You cannot say some milks because milk is not countable. Division of objects and substances. Unit nouns. Piece of bread, a piece of papers, a piece of land, blade of grass, a block of ice, pile of rubbish, lump of sugar, a sheet of paper, a speck of dust. It is about how we divide and what we say, piece or bit in informal. So these are the things in it. A piece of bread, a piece of paper, a piece of land. Piece is used to refer to the bread, paper, or even the land. Look at others. So how do you depth, length and weight? How you can check for the deep level of the water, a foot of water, the yard of cloth, an ounce of tobacco, cloud of butter, and so on. Look at volume, a pint of beer, a quart of milk, a gallon of oil. Sure, look at these are the other examples. I like most kinds of cats. A delicious kind of bread, a strange species of mammal. So here are in case of informal English, these kind of dogs are easy to train. Now for informal, this kind of dog is easy to train. More fun. Nouns which can be both count and mass. This is interesting. Both the same noun can be count and mass. We discussed in the previous session of the same today's video. We went for a walk in the woods. In America, many of the houses are made of. So here, in the first sentence, woods refers to the countable noun, but in second one, as noun or uncount noun. She baked a cake. Would you like some cake? We grow our own carrots. Good stew must contain carrot. I brought a dozen eggs. You can see the examples. Look, it's very interesting. And this is very important for the examination point of view if you are in the university. Otherwise, also for your day-to-day or professional communication, you need to understand those things. Look at a pig can be countable, but pork, a leaf, foliage, loaf, bread, a meal, food, a job, work, a vehicle, traffic. How do you understand the concept of count and mass noun? So look at here. Sometimes words which are usually mass noun are converted into count unit nouns or count species nouns. May I have Look at this. We have 2 sugars in my coffee, lump of sugar. Some of the best tobaccos are ground in Turkey. Okay, abstraction. Look at for the abstract noun also we can use those things. They are, I had a talk with Jim. There was a loud knock at the door. The committee had 3 meetings. Notice that the following nouns are mass nouns in English but not in some other languages. Advice, anger, behavior, chess, conduct, courage, dancing, harm, moonlight, news, parking, poetry, safety, shopping, smoking, sunshine, violence, etc. are mass noun in English but may not be in other languages. Look at a good game of chess, a sudden fit of anger, sudden burst of applause, an item of news. That way also we can make it unit noun. Mass noun can be categorized into unit and they becomes. Look at these are very interesting. Amount or quantity. Look at applied to singular noun, count noun. They are equivalent to part nouns. For example, all of the cake or whole of the cake, some of the cake or part of the cake, none of the cake. Okay, all of the stars, some of the stars for the plural nouns, for the mass noun. This, say this is very important. This one, how we can say that. This one is very important. We need to understand these things. Okay, in this way. Okay, large amount, small amount, not a large amount. Okay. Many for formal, much also for formal. A lot for informal, a lot for informal. Large number, great deal. A few, a small number, a little. That is for mass noun. A few. Many and much. This example we discuss. Count noun and mass noun. Question is, how many of the rolls have you eaten? For the count. And for the mass, how much of the plate have you eaten? So look at the possible answer. B says all of them, most of them, a lot of them, half of them, several of them, few of them, three of them, none of them. So here for the mass, all of it, most of it, a lot of it, half of it, a little of it, none of it. So here also indefinite use of amount words. All crimes are avoidable. All violence is avoidable. So when you talk about the count noun, it is the possibility of being singular and plural. But when you say mass, there is no possibility. So there is only one. We can say either singular one. We can't count it. Okay. We didn't buy many things. We didn't buy much food. Okay. She knows several poets, and you don't have mass noun. May I borrow a few dollars? May I borrow a little money? Most people enjoy parties. Most advice is ignored. There are fewer cars in the days. There were fewer cars in those days. There was less traffic in those days. No problem is no problems are. No work has been done. So when you say problem, at that time this is true. Music festival give a lot of funds, lots of people. Many people derive much pleasure from attending music festivals. Like that. He does not smoke very much. Do many people attend meetings? Words of general or inclusive meaning. As we see, all both are inclusive. Every each are. Okay, that way they are general. So here, all good teachers study their subjects carefully. Every good teacher studies their subject carefully. Gave a box of chocolates to all girls. He gave a box of chocolates to of the girls. Each of the girls or every one of the any either. Scale of nouns. Look at this is very interesting. Uh, uh, figure. So there is the division of count and mass noun. Count noun most, many, some, several, a few. Mass all, most, much, some, a little, and at last, no. So from the high possibility to low. Yes. Look at mass noun, count noun, personal, non-personal, frequency, duration, grade. Definite and indefinite meaning, usage of the definite articles. So how many types? Obviously 4 types. Definite articles. What did we say? Post modification. Was the observer. Okay, this is all about noun. The tiger is in danger of becoming extinct. Okay, then read meaning, mass and mass water count. The tiger, a tiger, tigers. But mass, you cannot say the water, or water, or waters. You can say generic use of adjectives and group nouns. The words of defining meaning. Proper nouns. So the Susan next door, not the Susan who works in your office. The new work of storybooks. I know several Mr. Wilson. He was a friend of Kennedy's. First person, first Wilson, second Wilson. First and second person pronoun. I, me, mine, we, us, our, first person. You, your is second person. One, you, they. Plural. Relations between ideas expressed by nouns. So this is important. We missed little bit when I talked at that time. So let's see. We have talked of the use phases of partition, division, and amount. For example, part of the house, a kind of tree, group of stars, a lot of difficulties. How do we use of? Of is also used more generally as a means of indicating various relations between the meaning of two nouns. The roof of the house, a friend of mine, my father, the courage of firemen. So that way we can the have relation. The roof of the house here also the courage of the man, man of great courage, house with the roof. That way also we use. Dr. Brown's son. It is the use of the genitives and the Earth's gravity. Subject-verb relation of object relation. Its parents' consent, the friend's departure, and the prisoner's release, a city's destruction. Subject verb of object, subject complement. Everyone's happiness, the country's beauty. So in this way, the origin relation. Girl told a story, etc. The girl's story, John's telegram. Telegram. Twice between the construction and genitors. Living stone discovers something usually. Okay. The army's defeat of the rebels. relation between people with or against, removed with, of, out, or from, restrictive and non-restrictive meanings. Okay, we check that one. The children who live next door. A king of Denmark. Butter toast, hot butter toast. The books, the history books. Children who learn easily should start school as early as possible. The children who learn easily should start school as early as possible. First one is restrictive, second one is non-restrictive. Non-restrictive adjective. Sometimes even the proper noun can be non-restrictive adjectives. For example, the patriotic Americans have great respect of their country's constitution, and the hungry workers attacked the houses of their rich employees. I have already discussed these things, that I'm trying to show you. Okay. His last great last novel. Time, tense, and aspects. We talk about that one also. States and events. The verbs. Napoleon was a Corsican state. Single event. Columbus discovered America. Set of repeated events. Paganini played the violin brilliantly. Present time. Okay. Time, tense, and aspects. Past time. Past tense. The present perfect. Perfect progressive. The past perfect. Perfect aspects in non-finite verbs. Progressive aspects. Verb taking or not taking the progressive. Future time. Progressive aspects. For present tense. Then the past and the future. So this way it is happening, and there is summary also. You can check those things in the book. Time when. The boys visited us when. Yesterday is verb. On Saturday it is prepositional phrase. Last week it is noun phrase. 3 weeks ago it means noun phrase plus ago or back, etc. Whenever they needed money, adverbial phrase. So that way also. So here is the use and concept of preposition, namely at, on, in, during. So it is used for the clock time, dates, other periods. At 10 o'clock, 6:30 p.m. Saturday, the following day, during, on, audio, that way. In and during. Okay, which way? The exceptions. And for the preposition and tense, for the tense, I have already uploaded a few hours complete tense package. For the preposition, I will take you the one. Time relationship also there. Measuring time, duration, this way, a lot of frequency. Frequency is very important to know. You have just understand rarely, always, almost always, rarely, always, almost always, usually, normally, generally, regularly, most occasion, often, frequently, many occasions, sometimes, some occasion, occasionally, now, and very normal, few occasions, rarely, seldom, few occasions, hardly, ever, scarcely, okay. This document system works. Basic work. Include these all things in whenever I talk about manner, means, and instruments. Mostly the question how. So whenever we talk about manner, means, and instruments, as I have discussed, he wrote it hurriedly, slowly, very fast. That's the manner. By hand means with a ball point pen. That is instruments. So manner. He spoke English confidently. He spoke English in a confident manner or way with confidence. That way also we can communicate. She cooks turkey the way I like, the same way as I do, a number of different ways. Causal result purpose, result and consequences. And then what is this? Open and hypothetical conditions. Okay, there is a degree also. Degree whenever we non-degree at that time. Positive, comparative, and comparative. Scale of darkness. Black, dark, light, white. Then whatever we do. So role standard and improvement. One is clever, one is very clever, one is clever, extremely. Comparison is also. Jack is taller, look at the picture, taller than you. It is shorter, that way also, and equal comparison. Tall head, short head, that way. Shorter and taller, shortest and tallest. This. Okay. Up to here we have. So this way we have
what noun is, what verb is, time, tense, aspects, prepositions, adjective, adverb, and those things are the basic concept of English grammar. And we have missed some of the points over here, and we will make it clarifying in the next video. In one video where I'll talk about the preposition, mainly preposition, and in another video I'll talk about the adjective and adverb. That will be very helpful for us. Thank you very much for your time over here and watching me. Please do not forget to put the comment to the comment box. It is not sufficient to write nice video, good video, or bad video. If you really want to help me by putting your constructive comments and feedbacks, why don't you write some questions? Why don't you put some ways through which we can make this platform better and more interactive, so that people will be benefited. And this is not only for the teacher and students, by the way. This is equally important for all the people who really want to make their English better. And making English better is not something speaking like the British or American president, or how American president speaks and how the English is used in the royal family of Great Britain. It's not the case. Using English is for the sake of communication, for the sake of academic purpose. And as we know already, there are the varieties of English, so that every day we can improve it. It can be a better platform over here. Thank you very much and have a great time.